Hi, I am Marana, and I decided to waste my time today with some more zoo games. I'm playing Planet Zoo because I miss Zoo Tycoon and it's not available on Steam, so I decided to make a gator mill in the middle of Florida, so let's see how this goes. I preset everything up because the building portion is always the most boring portion of the zoo stuff, you know, just here to look at the animals. I'm also skipping past most of the placing of the animals because, again, we're just putting crocodiles in cages. I press play and immediately dumb bitches come flocking to my zoo, heavy quotation marks around that, just to see my breeding operation. As you can see, my first couple of victims are being dropped off. They do come in multiple colors because apparently albinos are a thing within the Caiman variety. In this case, I'm separating all of these little crocodilians by both sex and age, so this tank is going to be the little girls, next to it little boys, and then the next ones are just adult pairings. This game takes forever, so I'm just kind of watching everything get dropped off, but most importantly, there's a ducky. I keep duckies in every tank, ducky. So in this particular game, I set up everything ahead of time because I already have dwarf caimans within another game that were breeding like crazy, so I just kind of assumed the size and shape of every tank here, just like blah, here's a bunch of plants, enjoy. However, this means I did not pay attention to what they actually need, so now they just don't have enough water in their tank because I abuse my animals within this breeding operation. However, even though it seems that I have dehydrated all of my caimans, they do like to splish splash a lot, so I think it is enough. Sadly though, it does seem that they never play with the ducky. Okay, so sales were not going very well because it turns out that it takes forever for caimans to grow up, and in this game you cannot sell them as babies, which is very unrealistic within the reptile trade market. So I decided to set up some shops, which I already made a place for, so the hope was not to go into debt. So I start to casually peruse my cages, make sure everything looks good, watch some caimans munch on some bloody pumpkin, thinking very innocently that everything was going to be okay since the breeding has begun. But little did I know, I am not a financial genius, I simply like crocodilians. So when I finally looked down for 5 seconds just to simply look at what was going on, I think to myself, a very simple but hearty, bruh. I did not expect to get into debt so frickin' quickly. My one and only mission was definitely not accomplished, but I have gone into this game before, it is possible to dig yourself out. So while my dumbass attempts to dig myself out of this hole in the background, I want to talk about the caiman. Cuivor's dwarf caiman is a small crocodilian that is native to northern and central South America. Mostly it is found in Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, French Guyana, Paraguay, Peru, Suriname, and Venezuela. It mostly likes to live in the forests that surround fast-moving rivers and streams. Although this game only shows it eating fish, the caiman actually likes to eat an array of insects, invertebrates, amphibians such as frogs, mollusks, and even shrimp. But most importantly, they eat. Oddly enough, the crabs could rave like that in front of a juvenile since they are too hard for them to actually eat. Only adults eat crabs. You might think that something related to an alligator would have a stronger jaw, however, when you consider that these caimans are about the size of large dogs, you could more easily see why they would be defeated by a crab. Dwarf really is befitting for their name, since they can reach a maximum recorded length of only 4.6 feet, and they weigh an average of about 13 to 15 pounds. This size makes them the tiniest of not only caimans, but also all types of alligators as well. You would think that something so tiny and cute would fall to predation often. However, this species has amazing body armor, both on the dorsal and the ventricle sides, meaning that it has twice as much as the average alligator species. This body armor is composed of dermal scales, providing protection as a bony base, and they are called osteoderms. Beyond just its extraordinary scales, it also has a very unusual skull shape. Comparing it to a large dog is kind of accurate considering that the skull has been compared to that of a dog and less like an alligator's. They also have this really goofy front bite with 4 of their teeth sticking out at the top, making them just absolutely adorable. Okay, so quick check on the game I was playing again. At this point I see that some of the males and females are just not pairing up the way I want them to, so I decided to sell some of the males off. Somehow, some magical way, this keeps my debt only at about $2,000 to $3,000, even though it's only about $200 per gator. You could just see that price just stuttering there for a little while, just as much as my frickin' heart flutters for it. On a slightly different thought, I want to talk about pumpkin for a second, just how it's used in zoos. Isn't it odd that like every animal can eat pumpkin, no matter how carnivorous they are? Like, somehow pumpkin is healthy for large cats to eat. Like, even tigers and lions, it is good for them to have pumpkin. Strange. Okay, anyways, back to caimans. Something interesting about the dwarf caiman is that they actually can handle colder water than most other caiman species, and we often see them sunning themselves more than the average caiman. I personally think this is a rather odd feature, considering that they are a largely nocturnal animal, meaning they only hang out at night, and are actually active at night. Another weird thing about caimans is that they actually don't use their teeth for the processing of food. They'll often swallow their meal whole and then process it in a gizzard full of stones. I don't know if this is like a normal thing for crocodilians. I thought that was a bird feature, but I think that's just kind of neat. One thing I wish this game would show is how they hide in mounds during the dry season to estivate. This basically means that they're hibernating until things are better for them as far as average conditions go. I mean, Zoo Tycoon had mounds and habitats, so why can't this game? One thing this game does have is seasons, and I was kind of expecting like a monsoon thing since we're in Florida. But then the unthinkable happens.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Why would it be snowing in Florida or Georgia, Louisiana, wherever the hell this stupid zoo is to be placed? Has this game just accepted the reality of global warming and the crazy weather phenomenon that we're gonna expect? I mean, like, look at what happened in Texas. Is this game programmed to predict that? There are now protesters charging into my dumb-ass facility. Like, good. This is not okay. Like I said, caimans are meant to estivate, meaning that they wait out the warm weather. They don't have means of dealing with cold weather. They're not hibernating. I start panic checking on every single animal as all the alerts start flooding in. I swear I think they're going to die. I'm surprised that this game didn't just murder them all outright in that moment. Worst part is, I am already in debt, meaning that I can't give them heaters, which is actually an option in this game. It's a little bit haunting to see how all these zoo guests just gawk at the slowly dying baby gators. But by some miracle, all of them actually made it through that weird winter storm. Oddly enough, everything went perfectly back to normal and all their stats went up as soon as it got warm again. I mean, hell, the breeding recommenced as soon as it happened. For a second there, I actually thought that everything was going to be okay. I mean, they survived the winter storm and they can go through anything. However, the fear of the snow totally made me forget about my fear of debt. Sadly, selling one caiman will not get me out of $16,000 of debt. This game became a total lost cause, so I don't know why I kept playing it. Anyways, more game nitpicking. You know how the Dino expansion of Zoo Tycoon actually had eggs? Once again, why can't this game accomplish that? In real life, caimans actually lay about 10 to 50 eggs in a single clutch, so I would forgive this game if it only had like 2, which is showing here. So, another quick aside. Neat hack in this game is that it doesn't cost anything to replace water. So instead of getting a water treatment plant, I'm able to just do this very rapidly instead. So although I do absolutely love the baby caimans in this game, I do like to think about the real life caimans and how they actually develop. It takes about 6 weeks for them to develop out of their eggs, and during that time, the mother caiman is adjusting the temperature in the pile of mud that the eggs are hidden in. These temperature adjustments dictate what the sex of the babies will be when they hatch, so the entire clutch will be the same gender. This isn't caiman specific, this is true for all crocodilians actually. Alright, so this debt increase is just becoming shameful at this point, and although I play for quite a bit longer for no reason whatsoever, I think I'm gonna wrap things up here. Thank you for watching this all the way through, if you indeed did. I know it's not really actually gameplay, it was more of just a hidden curiosity, so thanks for sticking around.